Welcome to Beyond the Mask. Today's episode highlights an innovative DMP project that speaks directly to the opioid crisis affecting communities across the nation. Our guests tackled a life-saving initiative training law enforcement officers in the administration of Naloxone,
with police often being the first to arrive at the scene of an overdose, ensuring that they are equipped with both the knowledge and confidence to use naloxone can mean the difference between life and death. This project not only addresses critical public health need, but also demonstrated how the advanced practice nurses can extend their impact far beyond the bedside, influencing policy, practice, and the safety for entire communities. Join us as we explore the inspiration, challenges, and outcome of this important work, and consider what it teaches us about the roles of CRNAs can play in combating the opioid epidemic.
CRNA Financial Planning is a sponsor of Beyond the Mask podcast. Investment advice offered through Private Advisor Group. Nothing in this podcast should be construed as investment advice. Plus, did you know listening to our podcast can earn you Class B credits? For details on how to submit, visit the CE credit section at beyondthemaskpodcast.com. Welcome to Beyond the Mask, innovation and opportunities for CRNAs and advanced practice nurses, with certified financial planner Jeremy Stanley and CRNA Sharon Pierce. Jeremy Stanley has worked with CRNAs for more than 23 years, and Sharon Pierce is a former president of the AANA and the NCANA. Join us as we leave the operating room and learn the latest in the CRNA and advanced practice nurse industries. Beyond the Mask starts in 10, 9, 8, 7.
Well, what'd you think about that intro, Jeremy?
Well, that was interesting, everyone. Well, for those of you who don't know, that was my daughter, Holland, who's 12, who's in the studio with us today at the NCANA meeting, helping us at the exhibit booth, and now, obviously, helping us on the podcast. So, Holland, great job.
Thank you.
Yeah, so just a little background. Holland is 12 and wants to be a CRNA, so she chose to come to the meeting today over going and doing something fun with her mom and brother. So she's excited to be here, and Sharon taught her how to do the intro. You guys did great.
Thanks. You. We did do good.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we have with us today Krystin Jones, and Krystin is a student at Duke. In fact, I've remembered you because I spoke to your class before, but give us a little bit about your background and tell us about you, and we'll kind of get started here.
Awesome. Yeah, so I am originally from Concord, North Carolina. That's where I grew up. And for undergrad, I went to nursing school at UNC Charlotte, and then I got my master's degree at UNC Wilmington in healthcare administration. I thought for a bit there I was going to go into research, which hopefully I'll combine CRNA and research later. And now I am a senior student at Duke, pursuing my doctorate in nursing practice for nurse anesthesia.
Well, we should have pulled you onto the ANA Foundation board. You've got the research background there. You could have been student rep on the board, and so maybe I'll make a note and we'll be calling you. So
sounds good.
So yeah, you're
Never
like,
tell all
gosh.
your secrets. We might rope you right on in for sure.
So tell us about this project. You know, how did it come about? What made you kind of go down this area?
Yeah, so we are working with Dr. Angie Joyner. She works in Duke's emergency department, and she does a lot of public health outreach. So she works with the fire department, the EMS, and we were asking her kind of where we could help out in the community and where there's kind of a lack of education out there. And she said, I feel like we could work with the police department. So reached out to the police department. We were like, what can we do? And we decided that Narcan training via simulation would be something that we could help, because in Durham County specifically, the opioid crisis is a huge issue, as we know it is in many places in North Carolina and across the nation. So we asked them if they would be interested, and they pretty much jumped on the opportunity right away. I was in there for 5 seconds, and I said, hey, we would love to train the officers via simulation. They would get hands-on training on how to administer Narcan, and they immediately said, yes, please, we would love that.
And they said the cost is zero? Yes, let's
Yes.
do that,
Yeah.
right?
Yes.
Yeah. So, well, that's awesome.
But what made you want to do this? Is there a little history, a personal story?
So I do have a history. One of my family members passed away from overdose, and I also saw a lot of that in working in the emergency department in the ICUs. And it's not just the patients that are affected, it's families, it's communities, it goes down the line. I've seen it with the death in my family. It affected the children a lot. So I feel like making the difference by reaching out to the police officers and allowing them to save lives, which I'm trying to take the project further and talking to them and saying, when you're going here, there's a lot of burnout. And I feel like working in the ICU, being nurses, being CRNAs, especially people that worked through COVID, we can all understand burnout. Mm-hmm. We've all been there. Most police officers, when you talk to them about responding to overdose calls, they'll hear an address and they're like, well, I know what that is.
Been there before.
Been there, done that. And it's not that they're not willing to go, but it's like a burnout. It's like, oh, we're going to the same place again. So talking to them and saying, hey, there's so many resources in Durham County and honestly all over North Carolina for these patients. So I am teaching the officers about all these opportunities and saying, hey, maybe if you take a second and say, hey, I would love to see you get some help. I'd love to see you go here. And research actually shows if someone like a police officer does that instead of a healthcare professional, these patients are actually much more likely to go get help.
Huh. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
So
I wonder why that is. That seems totally counterintuitive.
Yeah, I think it's maybe because there's kind of that stigma between police officers and the community sometimes. Mm-hmm. And police officers can get a bad rap. Mm-hmm. So when they're saying like, hey, they care about me, they want to see me do better, I feel like it makes a bigger impact.
Strikes a chord there.
Yeah. Healthcare professionals, like, of course, we want you to do good. We want you to go get help. It's our job to say that kind of, but.
Yeah. And I mean, the police officers are usually the first responders, right? I mean, they're there usually before EMS or anyone else. So. Yeah.
They're typically always the first responders. That's another reason why we targeted them. As we know.
I don't know that we can say that, Krystin. We targeted them in this environment today. Let's not say that. She didn't mean that, everybody. We're not targeting police officers. We're helping police officers.
We love the police officers.
He's just messing with you. Now, you know the life I lead now. You hear this, right?
All fun.
So talk to us about the simulation and the design. They came to you or you went to them with a simulator?
So we're actually implementing soon. We've done a dry run and I've talked personally to a lot of the police officers about this and kind of I want to make it to where it's going to be super beneficial for them and they're getting what they need out of it. I didn't want to just implement because it's easy to implement and do what I need to do for a project and get numbers. I want them to get something out of it. So at the community college that they have a few classrooms at, they actually have a simulation room. So I decided to go to them and figured it would be more convenient. And the simulation room is actually set up like a little apartment, so it's pretty realistic. So we're going to have a mannequin that is kind of slumped over on the toilet, passed out, and will be surrounded by drug paraphernalia. And we want to see how fast the officer can identify it's an overdose, get the patient safely to the ground, administer Narcan, and then also taking it a step further and turning the patient on their side, doing a little bit of airway management until EMS or someone else arrives. And then also educating them on sometimes it might take more than one dose, sometimes it might take 4, depending on the amount of drug that was taken.
Do you call the mannequin Elvis? Because Elvis was in the bathroom whenever he
That's a good
died.
idea. We should do that.
That is true.
Call
I
him
didn't think about
Elvis.
that. That's good. Well, I want to back up for just a minute. So are there any statistics on this stuff that you can share with us as well? Because, I found that interesting as well.
So from 2000 to 2012, we saw a 300% increase in overdose deaths, and that was in Durham County specifically. Something that was also staggering that I saw, about 5 people lose their lives every day in just North Carolina to opioid overdose, which is pretty crazy if you think about it just in our state. So there's a lot of room for improvement. And like we were saying before, these police officers are a lot of time the first ones to show up on the scene. And if they don't feel confident or comfortable administering this Narcan, or if they don't have Narcan on them, those even just 30 seconds or a minute can be the difference in life or death, or it can be the difference in someone having to now live with a life-altering brain injury. So,
I think a lot of people think that, the opioid crisis was really more healthcare related and hospitals and so forth. I don't think a lot of us really put it together with drugs and addiction out in the community. So I understand the reasoning behind this. It's an interesting take, and I'm glad you're doing it.
How are you going to measure a difference, Miss Researcher?
So there is someone who created a scale called the Opioid Overdose Knowledge Scale and then the Opioid Overdose Attitude Scale. I have altered that scale, and I've been contacting her back and forth to get expert approval. Basically just changing it. The scale focused more on heroin, and we see issues more so with fentanyl nowadays. So altering the questions to be more towards that, and then also towards intranasal Narcan, because that's what we're using more so nowadays. So just making those differences in the questions, and she's given expert approval so that we can now use these scales. And we're going to have the police officers take these tests, and then they're going to do an initial simulation. After they complete all of that, they'll be in a classroom with me, and I'll just be giving them education on how to recognize signs and symptoms of opioid overdose, kind of giving them a history of the disease itself of drug addiction, and letting them know this is not really a choice that these people are making at this point, and you don't know their background, you don't know where they came from, you don't know if they grew up with this kind of environment, and they honestly may have never had a choice. So just kind of putting that in their heads. I know a lot of them know it, but again, with the burnout, it's easy to So we'll do that. And then in the classroom, I want to get hands-on training with the airway too, just teaching like a jaw thrust, putting people on their sides. I'd love to maybe even get oral airways in there. I don't know if that will fit in their budget or not, if that's something that they could afford. But then after we do all of that, they'll retake the test, both of the tests, and then they'll redo the simulation. And I'm going to be timing them. I'll take a video of the simulation and see how much faster they were able to identify the overdose and administer the Narcan, and make sure they're doing it correctly and effectively. And a lot of people don't know, too, I think one of the biggest things when you're administering Narcan, when we do something like an inhaler, you always give like a test puff. You can't do that with Narcan. That wasted the dose. There's only one dose in there. And I think that's something a lot of people forget. So make sure that they're not trying to do that. And we actually have little Narcan, like fake things that they're going to be able to push.
So it's intranasal that you're teaching them.
Yes, ma'am.
And when you're teaching them, even if they've misdiagnosed, giving somebody an intranasal Narcan's not going to hurt them.
Correct. Yeah, that's in the teaching as well, letting them know if you even suspect a 5% chance, still give it, because you could save a life, and if this wasn't the issue, it's not
You're
going
not going to hurt them. I think that's an important piece, because they probably are afraid that they're going to hurt somebody, or they've misdiagnosed, for lack of a better term. But I think it's important for them to understand that even if you give it and it's not a opioid overdose, you're not going to hurt them.
I can't really believe that they're put out in the streets with no training on this and no education. I mean, really virtually none. It just surprises me. I mean,
I'm sure there's a TikTok video out there.
I mean, there has to be.
Man.
There has to be something. I mean, it just is bewildering. I mean, and if it's happening here in North Carolina, it's happening everywhere. Right? So I don't know whether it's not a priority or what it is.
I don't know. I have another question that's kind of tangential, because I was at a meeting and we had a police officer who came and talked at the meeting about Narcan administration in the field, and they didn't have a budget for it. And so the police department was having to pay for the Narcan at this point. This has been a few years ago, whenever everything just got started, and it was really severely impacting their budget. And then they may be going out and giving it, they each would get one dose a shift. Then there were some houses they were going to twice in one shift. Somebody had OD that morning, same person would OD in the afternoon. And so you have used 2 doses and you only got 1 dose per shift.
Wow.
And it was severely impacting.
What is the cost of Narcan? I mean, I have
I don't
no
even
idea.
know
Do you
now.
know, Kristen?
It should be pennies, but we all know that's not what happens.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually not sure how much it costs for them to get it. I know you can go to the health department and you
And
can
get it free.
I
Okay.
will
Which is
say
nothing's free.
Yeah.
I mean, it's
Yeah.
free for them to pick it up, but
Yeah.
it's coming out of a budget
Somewhere,
that
yeah.
they're given
Yeah.
through the county.
I will say I was at a store the other day and they had Narcan for sale, like in a box, like showing you can buy it here, and it was $75.
I just looked it up. Actually, I didn't know this. You can buy it at Walmart. It is $34.97, and it looks like there's 2 in there. $34.97. I just wonder, what. I mean, it says $30 to $50 basically. And you've got to think that probably every one of these, even if you look at it and you're buying it in bulk, has to be over $10, $10 to $20 per.
Mm-hmm.
Has to be.
And then every police officer's carrying it.
Yeah.
That's a lot.
That's a lot of money.
It's
And
a lot of money.
The doses don't get used, so really they're wasted because then they get expired. That's actually, I have a meeting with the person who is supposed to supply the Narcan to get a better system, because after talking to a bunch of the police officers, they all have Narcan somewhere in their cars. They usually keep it different spots. So I want them to all carry it in the same spot.
That's good.
Would like them all to get it out of the car and always have it with them as soon as they're responding to a call. And also checking it weekly to make sure your dose is not expired, to get updated doses, because pretty much everyone said, oh yeah, it's somewhere in my car, but mine's been expired for like a year, I think.
Are you a resident or CRNA looking to transition into independent practice? Introducing the 1099 CRNA Institute, taught by Beyond the Mask host Jeremy Stanley and Sharon Pierce. This comprehensive educational series provides detailed guidance on business structure, legal and tax implications, and financial management tailored specifically for 1099 CRNAs. Enroll now and earn valuable continuing education credits as you chart a new course in your rewarding career. Remember, that's aana.com/1099 or click the link in the description of today's show.
Well, we all know that expiration dates are not what you think they are. It's how much money the company has paid to get a certain expiration date. So that doesn't really bother me a whole lot. But talking about expiration dates, one thing that I wonder would be helpful, we all know that there are pockets where they have more overdoses than somewhere else in the community. So wonder if they can have a way to rotate the ones that are getting ready to expire to the high use areas. That might be
really
a
good idea.
discussion that could be had so that they're not expiring, because like I said, somebody's paying for it somewhere.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just doing a little bit of research as we're talking about it. But, yeah, I mean, you're looking at probably at least $20, $10 to $20 a dose from what I'm seeing.
I did have one officer, which he was actually on the narcotic unit, so you would think he would always know where to get new Narcan, because he's one of the ones that has administered it before. But he was like, I don't really know where to get it. He was like, I get mine from EMS. Every time we ever respond to a call with them, I just ask them if they have any extra doses that I can have, and that's how I get mine.
Wow.
And I was like, that's a really good idea, but you should have somewhere at the station that that you can get a new supply when you use yours, when you need it.
Wow.
So
When does your actual project, when do you start the training?
this month.
This month.
Okay.
Okay, this month is October as we are taping. This probably won't air until January. So we'll know.
We'll know what I mean, it's an interesting project, and it obviously is a need out there. How do you, we have a lot of listeners, students, CRNAs, and other folks even around the world. How do you scale this project? How could someone listening to this take this and do this in their own area, Kristen?
I think all you have to do is, first of all, I'll say the police department, they're very busy. They're short-staffed. There's had to be a lot of work on their end and my end to make things work, to get something to work in their schedule, because they're so short-staffed. But I would say we reached out via email and didn't get a response. And I just had an inkling. I was like, I feel like they would do this, but they're busy. They probably missed the email. And if you just show up and you offer this training to them and talk to them about it, I feel like it will be the experience I had where they're immediately like, yes, we would love that. Because at this police department, they've even said if this goes well that they want to implement it into their permanent BLET training, which is their new law enforcement training. So they want everyone to get this, and then hopefully they'll be doing annual or biannual boosters as well, just to get that hands-on for those people that don't get to administer Narcan frequently.
So once people listen to this, you've clearly put a lot of work into it. Will you template it out? And if one of our listeners says, you know what, I think I want to do this at my police department, if they reach out to us?
I'd be happy to do that. I would love that, actually, if people would reach out in their communities.
Scale.
One of the big things I've been talking about, too, when I talk to people about the project, I just feel like in our position, we have so much power and leeway to help the community and reach out. And this is just something super small we can do to help the police department and give them a little bit of knowledge. And also they can give us their insight on things of what we can do better and how we can be helpful to them. So it's already been super rewarding to talk to them, and they're very thankful for everything that I'm coming to do to train them and answering their questions. So it's just a really beneficial relationship to have.
Well, Krystin, I mean, what you're also doing is you're raising awareness. I mean, you know, it used to be that CRNAs were the best kept secret in healthcare. I think it's changing a little bit, but the majority of people have no clue what a CRNA is or what you do. They think you're an anesthesiologist, you know, so you're raising awareness out there to the CRNA community as well amongst a group of people that, you know, they might or might not know CRNAs out there, which is great for the industry as well. So
yeah, I have had to explain to a couple of them. They're like, "You're getting your doctorate in what?" Yeah.
Can they say anesthetist?
Well, there you go.
So as we kind of reflect on this a little bit, you know, what does it really mean to you to do this, both personally and professionally?
To me, even if it can save one life, it would be worth it to go through all of this trouble. Like you said, I've put a lot of work into this, a lot of hours, a lot of research, and if it could just save one life and make a difference in one family, one community, that would mean the world to me. Like I said, I've seen devastating effects from the opioid epidemic. I've seen kids crying in the ICU because of brain injuries, and now they're never going to see their mom again, their dad again. And I would love to cut back on that, if not get rid of it. Yeah, that would be amazing. But that would definitely make it worth it to me. Just one life saved.
Yeah. I will say it's an interesting project. You know, we see a lot of students who are doing their projects and so forth, but and they're all great. But this is one that I find very interesting. One, it's very simplistic, but very valuable. And you're also, like I said, increasing awareness of CRNAs. You're helping the community. You're helping the police out there with their jobs. So I like it. I mean, I think this is a great project.
A scalable one, too.
Yeah, absolutely.
So anybody out there in our listening audience, you too can do this.
That's right. So anything as we close that you want to add, Krystin, or?
Yeah, if anyone is interested in reaching out to their police department, seeing if they're interested in this kind of training, I would love to talk to you and give you some resources. I think it's very doable. I bought Narcan trainers off of Amazon for very cheap. Wouldn't cost too much. I don't necessarily think that you need a whole simulation setup. I think most police departments do have that already. So if you could use that, it would be good. But even just having a practice Narcan simulator would help, and letting them get hands-on and just teaching them about opioid overdose and drug addiction itself would be helpful. So I'd be happy to talk to anyone about it.
Wonderful. Well, Krystin, we want to thank you for being on the show, and thank you for all this wonderful work that you've done, and wish you the best. You're graduating when?
Next August.
Have you got the days counted down?
No, we've asked them. They're still calculating.
All right, still calculating the days. So, yeah, a lot of people, like I was talking to a guy a little while ago.
Timer.
He's like, I have 94 days left. I'm like, oh, wow, okay. So, well, we know you're going to do well. You're doing a great job here, and we just want to thank you.
Yeah, thank you guys so much for having me.
Absolutely. Ms. Sharon, I think it's a wrap.
Thank you for tuning in to Beyond the Mask. If you enjoy the show and want to help us grow, the best way to support us is simple. Leave a review on your favorite podcast platform, share the show on social media, and tell your friends. Your word of mouth is what keeps us going strong. We're proud to consistently rank in the top 50 medical podcasts nationwide and to be number 1 in the CRNA community. All thanks to listeners like you. Your support helps us stay there, and we couldn't do it without you. We'll see you on the next Beyond the Mask.
Hi, this is Jackie Rolls, President and founder of Our Hearts, Your Hands, a global support anesthesia community. We'd like to thank all of our prior donors and also say that we are accepting donations, welcome donations, to send a nurse anesthetist or even a nurse from a low-resource country to get further academic education or attend professional conferences or even equipment for some companies. Thank you so much for your support.